Good evening, everyone. I stand before you today not as someone who has all the answers, but as someone who is walking the same journey you are, a journey of self discovery, of growth, and most importantly, of learning to love and accept ourselves exactly as we are. Flaws are an inherent part of being human, and the idea that we should strive for perfection is one of the greatest misconceptions we face. It's easy to get caught up in the pressure to be flawless, whether it's the perfect appearance, the perfect career, or the perfect relationships. We see images of unattainable beauty and success all around us, especially in the media, and we begin to believe that this is the standard we must meet to be valuable or worthy. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion, a false narrative that society has created and continues to perpetuate. At the core of this illusion lies the idea that if we can just fix the parts of ourselves we perceive as flaws, we will be complete. But the reality is, we are already complete. The very imperfections we try to hide or change are what make us who we are. Our scars, our quirks, our mistakes, and our vulnerabilities, they all shape us, contributing to our depth and character. If we were to erase these flaws, we would be stripping away the essence of what makes us unique. Embracing imperfection is not about giving up or resigning ourselves to mediocrity. It's about accepting that we don't have to be perfect to be valuable. It's about understanding that being human means having flaws, and those flaws should be celebrated, not hidden. When we begin to see our imperfections as part of our story, we stop chasing an impossible ideal and instead embrace our authentic selves. We begin to realize that our worth is not determined by how well we can adhere to an impossible standard, but by how real, raw, and vulnerable we are willing to be. This acceptance doesn't mean that we stop striving for improvement. In fact, embracing imperfection opens the door to growth in a much healthier way. When we accept that we are imperfect, we are less afraid of failure because we understand that it's part of the process. We can take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them, knowing that each misstep is not a reflection of our inadequacy, but a lesson in our journey. There is no shame in imperfection, only growth, resilience, and the opportunity to evolve into a better version of ourselves. We also need to acknowledge that we often impose standards of perfection on others. We judge people based on unrealistic expectations, forgetting that everyone is carrying their own set of imperfections. The pressure to conform to these standards can be suffocating. But it's important to remember that everyone is on their own path, learning, growing, and evolving in their own way. By embracing our imperfections, we allow others the freedom to do the same. We create a space for understanding, compassion, and acceptance. Perfection, when pursued at all costs, can rob us of the joy of the present moment. It prevents us from seeing the beauty in the journey, the small victories, the lessons learned, the people we meet along the way. We get so focused on the end goal that we forget to appreciate who we are and where we are right now. The truth is, it's the flaws and imperfections that often make life worth living. They are the things that challenge us, teach us, and connect us to one another. So let go of the myth of perfection. Embrace your flaws, your uniqueness, and your authenticity. In doing so, you will discover a sense of peace that comes from knowing you are enough just as you are. Self-acceptance is the foundation of true personal freedom. It is the act of embracing who we are, flaws and all, and recognizing that our imperfections are not something to be ashamed of, but the very things that make us unique. In a world where we are constantly told that we need to be better, stronger, or more perfect, self-acceptance can feel like an uphill battle. But the reality is, until we learn to love ourselves just as we are, we will never fully experience the peace and fulfillment that comes with being our true selves. For most of us, the journey towards self-acceptance begins with the recognition that we are not perfect, and that's okay. We live in a society that promotes ideals of flawless beauty, success, and achievement. And we internalize these ideals. We compare ourselves to others, measure our worth against impossible standards, and judge ourselves harshly when we fall short. But the truth is, no one is perfect. Each one of us carries our own imperfections, insecurities, and struggles. Yet, in those very imperfections lie the qualities that make us beautiful. Our empathy, our quirks, our resilience, our scars, and even our vulnerabilities. Learning to love ourselves means accepting those imperfections as part of our story. It's about realizing that our flaws are not signs of weakness or failure, but rather markers of our journey. Each mistake we've made, every setback we've faced, has shaped who we are today. The beauty of self acceptance is that it doesn't require us to be flawless. It requires us to be real, honest, and kind to ourselves. When we accept ourselves fully, we stop striving to be someone we are not and instead start celebrating who we are. This acceptance allows us to let go of the constant need for validation from others. We stop seeking external approval to feel good about ourselves. Instead, we look inward, nurturing a love that comes from within. It's not about being perfect in others' eyes, but being at peace with our own reflection. Self-acceptance frees us from the chains of judgment, both from others and from ourselves. It encourages us to forgive ourselves for past mistakes and to acknowledge that every flaw is an opportunity for growth, not a reason for self-criticism. When we learn to love ourselves, we begin to understand that we don't have to conform to society's narrow definitions of beauty or success to be worthy. We are worthy simply because we exist. Our value is not defined by our appearance, our achievements, or how others perceive us. It is defined by our humanity, by our capacity for love, kindness, and connection. And when we accept ourselves in this way, we become more compassionate toward others. We stop projecting our insecurities onto them and start seeing their beauty, their struggles, and their humanity. Self-acceptance also means learning to embrace our unique qualities. The things that we once saw as flaws are often the very things that make us stand out in the world. Our quirks, our differences, our challenges, these are the things that set us apart and give us our individuality. The more we accept these parts of ourselves, the more we understand that they are not just acceptable, but beautiful. Our imperfections are what make us human, and they make us relatable to others. They create connections, build empathy, and remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. The journey of self-acceptance is not an overnight transformation. It's a lifelong process. It requires patience, self-compassion, and the willingness to face our insecurities head-on. But once we begin to truly accept ourselves, we unlock a deeper sense of peace and happiness. We stop waiting for others to validate us and start validating ourselves. We begin to understand that we are already enough just as we are. Growth through struggles is a concept that many of us resist, often because it's easier to wish away difficulties than to embrace them. However, challenges and setbacks are not just unavoidable parts of life. They are the very catalysts that propel us toward personal development. While we may not seek out struggles or hardships, they shape our character and our resilience in ways that comfort and success never could. The road to growth is rarely smooth, but it's through the bumps, the detours, and the obstacles that we learn our most profound lessons. When we face adversity, it's common to feel defeated, frustrated, or even powerless. We ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? Or what did I do to deserve this? In those moments, it's easy to view challenges as a punishment or a sign that we're on the wrong path. But what if instead we viewed struggles as opportunities? Opportunities to evolve, to learn, and to become stronger. Every obstacle we encounter offers a lesson that in time will serve to shape us into more resilient and capable individuals. Challenges push us out of our comfort zones. When everything is going smoothly, we often don't realize our potential for growth because we are in a state of ease and familiarity. But when we're faced with difficulties, we are forced to tap into parts of ourselves that we might not have known existed. We learn how to problem solve, how to persevere, how to be resourceful, and how to adjust our perspective. These experiences build resilience, teaching us that we are capable of weathering even the stormiest of circumstances. The more we face setbacks and work through them, the more we realize that we are stronger than we initially believed. Our confidence grows not from always succeeding, but from knowing that we have the strength to rise every time we fall. It's also through struggles that we develop empathy for others. When we face hardships, we come to understand what it feels like to be vulnerable and to experience pain or uncertainty. This deeper awareness makes us more compassionate toward others who are going through their own battles. We begin to see that everyone has their struggles, even if they're not visible on the surface. and this fosters a sense of connection and solidarity. Struggles teach us that we are all in this together, that suffering is part of the human experience, and that we can learn from one another's challenges. Furthermore, the setbacks we experience help us refine our goals and sharpen our vision for the future. It's often in the midst of adversity that we discover what truly matters to us. Struggles force us to reevaluate our priorities, shed what's unnecessary, and focus on what is most important. They give us clarity and help us realign our path when we've veered off course. Without challenges, we might continue on a trajectory that doesn't fulfill us, simply because it's comfortable. Adversity pushes us to question and grow, to redefine success on our own terms. It's crucial to recognize that growth through struggles doesn't mean we're expected to endure pain without end or to stay in difficult situations indefinitely. It means that when we do encounter difficulties, we must not shy away from them, but face them head on with courage. Through this process, we learn that struggles are not a sign of weakness. They're a powerful force for transformation. We emerge from them not only stronger but wiser, having developed qualities like patience, persistence, and gratitude. While struggles may not always be easy or pleasant, they are undeniably necessary for growth. It's the challenges we face that provide the ultimate opportunity to evolve into the person we are meant to become. Embracing them is not about pretending that everything is fine in the face of adversity. It's about accepting that life's challenges will shape us and that through them we will discover the depth of our own strength. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in a world that prizes strength and self-sufficiency. We are taught to hide our flaws, to mask our insecurities, and to appear invulnerable, especially in a society where success and power are frequently associated with perfection. Yet it is through vulnerability that we create the deepest and most authentic connections with others. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open the door to trust, understanding, and genuine human connection. Showing our vulnerabilities doesn't make us weaker. It makes us more human, more real, and more capable of forming meaningful relationships. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are essentially sharing a part of ourselves that is often hidden from the world. It's in those moments of openness that we reveal our fears, our hopes, our struggles, and our imperfections. These are the things that make us relatable. In a world where everyone is trying to project an image of perfection, being vulnerable stands out as an act of courage. It's a demonstration of self-acceptance, of not feeling the need to hide behind a facade. And in doing so, we invite others to do the same. The more we embrace our own vulnerability, the more we encourage others to embrace theirs. Vulnerability is the bedrock of trust. When we show our true selves to others, we are essentially saying, I trust you with my imperfections. This act of trust invites others to open up as well. It creates a safe space where both parties can be authentic without the fear of judgment or rejection. When people see that we are willing to be vulnerable, they often feel more comfortable doing the same, leading to deeper emotional connections. The more we share, the more we learn about each other, and the more we build bonds that go beyond surface level interactions. True trust is built on the foundation of vulnerability because it signals that we are not afraid to be real with each other. In the process of being vulnerable, we often discover that we are not alone in our experiences. We all have struggles, insecurities, and fears. And by being open about them, we normalize these emotions and experiences. This collective vulnerability creates a sense of shared humanity. It reminds us that we are all on this journey together, navigating the ups and downs of life. It's in those moments of vulnerability that we realize how connected we are to one another despite our differences. Vulnerability also cultivates empathy. When we allow others to see our struggles, we give them permission to offer support, understanding, and encouragement. This creates a reciprocal flow of compassion where we are both giving and receiving. The act of sharing our vulnerabilities allows us to develop a deeper understanding of others' emotions and perspectives. It allows us to relate to their pain, their fears, and their joys in ways that we wouldn't be able to if we kept our walls up. In relationships, whether personal or professional, vulnerability fosters a level of intimacy that cannot be achieved through perfection or guardedness. It is through vulnerability that we can truly connect with others on a soul-deep level. It's when we are honest about our shortcomings, our mistakes, and our fears that we show our true selves. And it's in these moments of authenticity that trust is born. Vulnerability is not about exposing ourselves to harm, it's about being willing to open up in a way that invites connection and understanding. By embracing our vulnerabilities, we allow ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, and in turn, we give others the opportunity to see us and accept us as we are, imperfections and all. In a world that often seems to celebrate uniformity, the true beauty lies in embracing and celebrating our differences. Whether it's the diversity of cultures, backgrounds, perspectives, or identities, our differences are what make the world a vibrant and dynamic place. They enrich our experiences, expand our understanding, and foster innovation. Yet, so often, we are taught to focus on what makes us similar, sometimes overlooking the profound value that our unique qualities bring to the table. When we appreciate and celebrate our differences, we open ourselves up to a wealth of knowledge, creativity, and connection that would otherwise remain untapped. One of the most powerful aspects of celebrating differences is the opportunity it gives us to learn from one another. Every person brings a unique story, set of experiences, and viewpoint to the world. When we actively seek to understand those different perspectives, we enrich our own understanding of the world around us. A conversation with someone from a different culture or background can offer new insights into everything from problem-solving approaches to life philosophies. By embracing these differences, we cultivate a more open-minded, thoughtful, and empathetic society. We begin to realize that our way of thinking is just one of many valid perspectives, and that by exploring others, we grow as individuals. The diversity in the world also leads to greater creativity and innovation. Different backgrounds, experiences, and skill sets bring fresh ideas and approaches to problem solving. When we surround ourselves with people who see the world differently, we are challenged to think in new ways. It's through the fusion of diverse viewpoints that groundbreaking ideas are born, whether in art, technology, science, or business. Celebrating differences encourages collaboration and teamwork, where individuals contribute their unique strengths and perspectives to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The most transformative breakthroughs often happen when people from different walks of life come together, share their knowledge, and challenge one another to think outside the box. Diversity also helps us become more compassionate and understanding. When we take the time to appreciate the experiences of others, we develop a deeper empathy for their struggles, challenges, and triumphs. We begin to understand that everyone's journey is different, shaped by their environment, upbringing, and circumstances. Rather than judging or making assumptions, we approach each individual with respect and an open heart. This leads to a more inclusive society where differences are not just tolerated but celebrated. It creates an atmosphere where people feel valued for who they are, regardless of their background or identity. This sense of belonging is crucial for individual well-being and for building communities that are strong, supportive, and resilient. The richness that diversity brings to our lives also extends to the way we experience the world. From the food we eat to the music we listen to, from the festivals we celebrate to the languages we speak, our differences create a colorful tapestry of culture that makes the world a far more interesting place. Each culture adds its own flavor to the global experience, offering unique traditions, values, and ways of thinking. When we embrace and celebrate these differences, we not only enrich our own lives, but also contribute to the collective beauty of the world. Our differences don't make us weaker, they make us stronger, more connected, and more capable of appreciating the full spectrum of human experience. In celebrating differences, we also challenge the divisions that often exist between us. Whether it's racism, sexism, or any form of discrimination, understanding the value of diversity can help break down these barriers. By recognizing the inherent worth in every individual, regardless of their background or identity, we foster a more inclusive, just, and equitable world. We come to understand that our differences are not a source of division, but a source of strength. In a world that is increasingly interconnected, it is more important than ever to appreciate the richness that diversity brings and to create a space where everyone's unique qualities are celebrated. In our fast-paced, achievement-oriented society, there's a constant pressure to reach a destination, whether it's a career milestone, a personal goal, or a vision of perfection that we've set for ourselves. We become fixated on the idea that happiness, success, or fulfillment lies at the end of some distant road. But what if the journey itself, with all its twists, turns, and detours, holds far more value than the destination we are racing toward. The idea that the destination is the ultimate measure of success often leaves us missing out on the richness of the experiences that shape us along the way. The truth is, it is through the journey, the process of self discovery, growth, and personal development that we find meaning and purpose. When we focus solely on reaching a goal or achieving perfection, we tend to overlook the smaller, everyday moments that contribute to our personal evolution. We begin to measure our worth based on the completion of tasks or the attainment of an ideal, leaving us feeling empty or dissatisfied when the goal is reached and we realize that the fulfillment we sought doesn't quite exist in the way we imagined. This is because perfection is not a destination, it is an illusion, a moving target that constantly shifts as we evolve. The real growth happens in the journey itself, in the lessons we learn, the resilience we build, and the person we become along the way. Personal development is not a straight line, it's full of ups and downs, progress and setbacks, joy and frustration. It's the messy, unpredictable process of figuring out who we are, what we stand for, and how we can contribute to the world. When we allow ourselves to embrace the journey, we free ourselves from the burden of perfection. Instead of constantly striving for an end result, we begin to appreciate the steps along the way. We learn that each moment, whether it's a success or a failure, has value. Every experience, good or bad, teaches us something important about ourselves, and every challenge we face adds to our strength and wisdom. Focusing on the journey also allows us to practice patience and self-compassion. Personal growth takes time, and it often doesn't happen in the way we expect. We may have moments of frustration or feel as if we're not progressing as quickly as we'd like, but when we shift our focus from the destination to the process, we can learn to embrace these moments as part of the growth process. We start to see that each step forward, no matter how small, is an achievement in itself. It's in these moments of struggle and perseverance that we develop our inner strength and resilience. It's also where we build the character that will sustain us long after the goal has been achieved. When we focus on the journey, we also learn to be more present in our lives. Instead of constantly looking ahead to what's next, we begin to appreciate where we are right now. We learn to enjoy the process of discovery and the act of becoming. Each day offers a new opportunity for growth, for learning, and for connecting with ourselves and others. This shift in perspective allows us to stop rushing through life and start savoring the moments that make it meaningful. We realize that we are not defined by the end result, but by the way we navigate our own personal evolution. Ultimately, the journey is what shapes us. It is the collection of experiences, choices, and reflections that mold us into the individuals we are becoming. While the destination may seem like the ultimate goal, it is the journey that provides us with the richness of life, the lessons that stay with us, and the growth that transforms us. In focusing on the journey rather than the unattainable ideal of perfection, we give ourselves the freedom to evolve, to fail, to try again, and to ultimately find fulfillment in the process itself. So, let go of the pressure to be perfect. Let go of the fear of not being enough. Embrace the journey and know that the path you're on is just as important as the destination. The most important thing you can do is be true to yourself, because you are already enough. Thank you.